Welcome back to another episode of Rebel Driver's Garage. I am working on my Impala again. This time I'm doing something that kind of makes it, for a daily driver, less irritating. Like functioning wipers. So, if you ever driven like a 1960 Chevy, they have a single speed wiper kit. That was standard. No washers. So you're doing a lot of getting out of the car and squeegeeing your window and carrying around a bottle of Windex or something like that with you. And it works. And the single speed wipers that came on this thing were still working, but they're slow and they don't keep up. It's great in the shower, but they're not really good for anything else. And I did some looking online. I go, wow, I can get a 2-speed wiper with washer, but the 2-speed wiper is not the aftermarket stuff. It doesn't come with a washer. It's like an aftermarket weird looking motor that doesn't, and it's got some sort of weird bracket to fit the whole of the car. And it's like almost $200, it's almost $300, and it doesn't come with it. And that's from restoration companies, like several different ones that specialize in Impalas. And it's got like 9 wires, and then you're constantly. So I did find a guy that specializes in these. And he has an original style, rebuilt 2-speed with washer wiper motor. Get this, $519. And that isn't including the $240 core. So if you have a core, ow, that's painful. That's like almost $1,000. I didn't do that. Nope. So, over the past few years, and when I've been at the salvage yards and I've come across a 65 or a 66 Impala, I've been snagging parts. And I'm going to show you what I did, and it's going to be a lot less than $1,000. Okay, first off, I found this. This is a 2-speed wiper with washer pump, right? And I don't know why that's not plugged in. And, it was out of a 66 Impala, and from the same car, I was able to get the switch. Right? Here's the switch here, and it has the little button on it for washers, which doesn't work when the thing's off. Okay? And I had that sitting on the shelf for a couple of years. Oh, and I also got the wire harness. So there's a wire harness, see here, this wire here, and this plug here. Now the car's harness has this black wire here. This is what powers the wiper motor, and it's got power going through it all the time when the key is on. And this setup here, the rest of these plugs here, and the one that goes through the firewall to the back of the switch is a separate wire harness from the rest of the car. So you can take it out separately. And if you have a 65 or 66 Impala, your dashboard, your firewall already has a hole for it. So I grabbed that as well. And all that cost me was $25. Okay? A Junkyard motor. I tested it there. It worked. And I just used, one of their Junkyard batteries. And it worked. So I got me a switch, I got me a wire harness, and I got me a motor. So now I have 2-speed wipers, and I've had that for a while. Now, I wanted washers, because after 28 years of not having washers on this car, and I drive it a lot, I've driven it 120,000 miles over 28 years, I wanted to do something different. I wanted functioning washers. What the wire harness really does between here and the wiper motor is it completes the ground. Okay, that's all it does. It completes the ground. So the power is already going to the wiper motor from your factory wire harness. It's always got power. Same GM's been doing this for years and years and years. And here's like the 2-speed. See, here's speed 1. And that's all the faster the single speed would run. And then it would go a little faster, I think. Okay, that's speed 1. That's speed 2. Right? But the washer pump didn't work. See, the washer pump does not work. Why doesn't the washer pump work? And it parks the wipers nicely. So that motor out of a 66 Impala was working pretty damn good, I thought. Turn the key off. Okay, so why doesn't the washer pump work? So the key's on, and you can see if I can get it to go in there. Okay, I got power up in the pump, right? And I got power down here from the wire harness to the motor itself. This is the problem. This here, this blue wire, is the button, the push button, which all it does is supposed to do is complete the ground. Well, here's the problem. The washer pump is shorting out because it's got power coming through the ground side that's supposed to be coming from the switch. That is not good. That means something in here is like the windings or whatever all screwed up. And let's face it, these plunger style washer pumps, as you can see, this one was been rebuilt because it's got a new cap on it. And you can get these with the no O-rings, and it costs about $10, right? They don't ever work. So I have a solution, and I'll show you. And it's cheap. This is my solution. And this is an square body era S10 washer tank with a pump. Now, you can use it like this. I used one of these on my 1967 GMC, and it works fantastic. It worked fantastic for years. This is out of the salvage yard, right? And these pumps, they never go bad. You can always test them. They got a positive and negative. You can test them at the junkyard before you buy it. And it was like, I don't know, 10, 15 bucks for this. So right now I'm like $40 into this, right? So the other thing is I didn't really put it on. I just had the wipers working for a while. And well, then I went to a salvage yard down in Great Bend, Kansas, called Nobody Else's Auto Salvage, run by a guy named Chad Ehrlich, and he had a whole bunch of 65 Impalas, and I was able to get a replacement fender, header panel, and a few other things, and let me show you what I got. I was able to get a washer tank and bottle bracket. My car never had it because my car had a single speed non-washer pump. And look at this tank. This is original. Isn't that amazing? It's missing the little tab here to take the lid off. But all I did was I sandblasted and painted the original bracket, and I screwed it because there's 3 holes in the radiator support already there for it. And I washed this out like washed it in the dish, as with a bottle brush, the same one that you use on the ladies' really nice wine glasses. I used on this. So the other cool thing I was able to get was a wiper reservoir. Now this doesn't actually have, like, originally just didn't have the extra fluid, like out of the bottle. It wasn't carrying around the add-on stuff, right? And no, that was actually an additive. You put regular water in this, and this actually had the extra additive that you put in it. It wasn't pre-mixed back then. So you got this additive, you pour it in here, and there's a certain amount you pour in, and I even got the little bracket, which cleaned up really well. And there's I don't know if you can see that. Let me get it to focus. There's some lettering on the lid. And what I'm just using it for, and I'm going to be able to get this back in the bracket. There we go. Just because it looks cool. And the inner fender has the 2 dimples where that screws in. That's right. So all you have to do is drill out the holes and put in a couple of salt tappers, and away you go. Now, time to make the washer work with the this little pump deal. So this little pump deal. Now I have another one I got out of another truck. And what I'm going to do is, I'm putting it in line. And I put it down here, as you can see. And it's in line from the hose that goes to the washer reservoir. And all I have to do now is pull this off, right? And as you can see, I still got the key on. Without the key, without this in the washer bottle, it's actually doing what it's supposed to be doing, okay? So, watch this. I'm gonna test it really quick, so hang on 1 second. Okay, the wiper is running like so. And, oh, I can hear it. It's running, It's not squirting. What's going on here? What is going on here? So maybe, just maybe, running it through the actual original pump is not a good idea. I was kind of do that kind of for looks, you know, but maybe I'll do this. I'll grab a vacuum tee here, which has one bigger one and two smaller ones here. And I'll connect the hoses to that. Let's see what happens. I connected the hoses to these tees. See if that works. Why is it not squirting? Are my squirters clogged? I disconnected the hose. Oh yeah. So that works. There, let's try that again. Oh, wait, oh, there it goes. Look at that. Wow. Works. Amazing how much faster the wipers work when they're not trying to squash across the dry windshield. Look at that. They're pointed a bit high. They're pointed a little bit too high. I mean, if I was going down the freeway and I sprayed them, they'd be spraying the car behind me. Forgive me if I think that's funny. So, have you ever been hitting the windshield by the cars in front of you going down the road who's trying to wash their car? They're doing like 70 miles an hour and they hit the sprayers and there's so much wind it just blows over their car and onto yours. Yeah, I like to do that. So all I'm going to do is this. I'm just going to take a screwdriver here and bend the sprayer down a tad. Like that. Let's see what we got now. I think you ideally wanted to hit somewhere in the middle of the windshield. Oh, I was still going way over the top. Oh yeah, there's washer fluid all over the trunk lid. Oh, I don't know if that's too low, but hey, it kind of moved quite a bit. Try it again. That one's still too high. Wow. There we go. Let's see what we get now. Oh, all right. There we go. Look at that, right in the middle. Uh-huh. Sweet. Shut all this off for a killer camera. Now, all I gotta do is connect these wires in a more permanent fashion than this. I'm gonna try to keep the original plug And then what I'll end up doing is I'll just zip tie the motor down here out of the way. That way it doesn't cause a problem. And then I'll tuck these hoses back here out of the way as well, so they look neato. Something a little bit neater than this. This flopping around like this. I'll do something a little bit better than that. Alrighty, so I have the motor tucked down there in the bottom of the fender, inner fender, because in case the motor starts leaking, it'll just run off the back behind the tire. And then got the hoses tucked here behind the hood hinge, so the hood hinge really doesn't move. The spring is not going to go back and hit them, so the hood hinge just kind of falls forward and doesn't go back, so it's not going to hurt those. So I think everything's kind of cool now. All right. Oh yeah. Look at that. Yep. Well then, for a grand total, let's see, if I bought the new vacuum hoses and such. Those were about $10 for the lines for the squirter washer wires and hoses, whatever the heck you want to call them. And I had some a couple of wire fittings to plug it into the original plug of the wiper washer. Boy, that's a tough one. And so I've got maybe a total of $60 in this whole thing. Now, you're probably sitting there, well, I can't find those old cars in junkyards. Well, if I can find them in Nebraska where everything rusts within 5 years, I think you can find them in yours if you just look a little harder. Maybe even in swap meets. Just take a look. Even if you get just the bracket, not the washer tank, because the washer tank is sold new. All right, there's some things that are sold new. I mean, I got the squirters with the washer motor and such, and the switch at the same time. My car didn't have them originally because it was a single speed with no washer wiper. Single speed, single washer. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, so I know what you're thinking. Well, I can't find one in junkyards. Look, dude, if I can find one in Nebraska, I'm in Nebraska where everything rusts, okay? So if I can find 65, 66 Impalas in salvage yards, so can you. You just got to look a little harder. You can buy the bracket and the washer tank new if you want to do that. But spending $500 on a new washer motor or rebuilt one? Oh boy. That's, I don't know. If you got the cash, be my guest. If you're like me, who didn't have a core, that was $520 plus $240 for the core. That's what I found online. Or you can spend $279 for an aftermarket style wiper motor with a bracket to make it fit the car and wires that don't plug right in. You know, that's up to you if you want to do that, but this is the original stuff. I mean, it's a 1966 Impala that I found the stuff off of, and it'd been sitting in a junkyard for years and probably was sitting in some farm field for years before that, and the motor still works. The washer pump, well, okay, it didn't work. Maybe you'll get lucky. Maybe yours will work. Maybe all you need to do is buy that little cap and kit, you know, to make the pump work. Be my guest. I know this. O'Reilly's doesn't sell them. You try looking up a wiper motor for this car from O'Reilly's, it says, sorry, we can't help you. So, if you want to try it, this is me being a little more ingenious, thinking a little harder, and thinking out of the box. Besides, you know, this is what you got to do when you drive an old car that doesn't, you know, that's not a Mustang or a Camaro, where you can buy every single last piece out of the car, out of a catalog. And if you have any comments or questions, please hit me up. I answer all the comments and questions, okay? The ones that make any sense and the comments that aren't just, you're a dick, you know. So, thanks again for watching.